Hi, you're marshalling and guns are cool, okay? But you know what is cooler? A gun that has splash electric damage as well as proccing a bomb to detonate as well as giving extra damage to boss enemies that breaks enemies' armor and makes all your attacks explode. Additionally, you're zooming through time and space with dozens of speed increases, periodically shooting off missiles and giving shields for a percentage of your damage. And did you just get killed by a melee attack? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Risk of Rain 2, but first of all, I'd like to thank Risk of Raid Shadow Legends. Just kidding, you think I'd ever get sponsored? Anyways, back in April, I bought Risk of Rain 2 by impulse, cause I'm quirky like that, you know. And holy crap, I had 30 hours in the first 3 days of me buying it. I was neck deep in that game, although from the end of May onwards, until very recently, I've been on quite a break because, well... But Risk of Rain 2 connoisseur sheer, cause just recently came out update 1.0 with an actual ending, which for now I won't go into, but you'll have to know I have grown a big resentment towards a certain boss. For now, let's put a pin on that and leave it there. So let's have a chronological retrospective of the Risk of Rain 2 experience. Risk of Rain 2 is a 3D that's like one dimension bigger. Wow! A roguelike shooter-looter and a sequel to Fortnite. You try to go as long as you can without perishing. You'd think that would just end up in you dying due to ever-ending increasing difficulty, but that's where you're wrong, you dumb stinky viewer. Firstly, your abilities deal a percentage of your base attack power, scaling with your level, which goes up by killing enemies, and the gold absorbed by the teleporter event. And secondly, you get items by opening chests with that fat bread you gain from enemies. That does various things, from a random proc to firing off homing daggers on kill that basically play the game for you. You first start out with the Commando, the Soldier 76 of Risk of Rain 2. He has a shoot, a bigger shoot, a roll, and a stun. Pretty versatile, but also basic KF. So you come down from the sky, you shoot the shooties, you get some items. What do I do now, I hear you ask? Well, it's time to roll up your big boy pants and activate the teleporter event. In this event, you'll have to kill a big ass boss and charge up the teleporter by being inside the red zone, rather than communist Russia. Once you abolish communism yet again, you move on to the next area, rinse, repeat, get more items, get speedier, get DPS here, and ultimately die to a random mob because you weren't having precautions. But hopefully you got to level 4, which means you unlock the Huntress, an absolute unit of a survivor, with an auto-aiming bow that shoots projectiles and that you can use while sprinting, an auto-locking glaive that bounces from enemy to enemy, an arrow rain that just chunks, and a blink that gives you invisibility frames for its duration. Legitimately too good to be unlocked this early on. Prepare yourselves, because the Huntress will carry you through the whole game. Not only is she one of the most mobile survivors in the early game, she is also an absolute beast in late game. As you do the video game equivalent of central nervous system stimulants, you die cause you're a noob. I know it, you know it, your mom knows it, and after completing the first teleporter event 5 times, you unlock multi. At first you might think, damn, multi kinda slow, and it is, but after you get shitloads of items, you start to see that multi may be one of the best late game survivors, having a slide that deals more damage the more momentum you have to neutral attacks, including a rocket gun, a snooper rifle, and a machine gun. To consumables and AoE stun, I'm still quite meh, on this character, but who am I to judge this for last? I will have a narrow-minded, opinionated, dogmatic, small brain mentality. And after completing 30 stages, you get access to the engineer, which is really good in multiplayer, which would be great if I had friends. In single player, I can only describe it as mediocre at best, with a cluster bomb launcher that is finicky to shoot, proximity mines to turrets, and a boring shield. It doesn't take you long for you to realize this character is boring gaff. As you've been playing, you may have been picking these lunar coins up, as with 10 of those you can go into the spooky bazaar and unlock the prisoner in time, the Artificer, one of my favorite survivors. At first you might be thinking that she's pretty immobile and that she's pretty boring, but that only lasts until you have one good run with her, using things like good hooves, red whips, poo-poo feathers, unspecified energy drink, G-Fuel, and the other rare ability that shoots you at a high speed to the sky. You can pretty much fly, as well as being able to sheath the Besides the ability of flight, the Artificer has a main fire that shoots fire 4 times before needing to recharge, an absolutely cataclysmic orb of death and pestilence, and an ice wall that freezes enemies that run into it, making for a good execute. Overall, this is one of my most played characters and I love it. I presume that now you've had a couple of god runs, meaning that you've gotten to stage 8 and reached the Celestial Realm, and you faced the obelisk. If not, get good, noob. When you obliterate yourself, you get a mercenary. GG, you just got the sword guy, or as I like to call it, the weeb character. He has a couple dashes that deal more damage if they hit consecutively, a melee attack, a melee AoE, a dash that when it collides gives you a moment of invisibility as you strike your target several times, as well as having a double jump baseline. This survivor is okay in early to mid game, but in end game it just gets absolutely fucking destroyed. Also, it's for weebs. You, please no, get it away, you. Now let's have a story time, so sit down, grab some popcorn and prepare yourself. So, I had all but one survivor left to unlock, this robot-looking ass thing, but up until now I had not used any guide, but seriously, I didn't know how the fuck you were supposed to unlock that survivor, so alas, there goes my gamerman card, sad times. So apparently you had to remove a battery from the pod you come down from. Who would have ever thought of doing that on their own? And reach the hell dimension without reaching half health? Cause if you did, well, let this just speak for itself.
Did she say? What you say? That you only meant well, but cause you did. What you say? That it's all for the best.
I swear to God, this challenge has been the first thing in years to give me actual gamer rage, and after an adequate amount of time, I finally went and gave this thing in hell its power, and to my surprise, the survivor I unlocked was a potted plant. And And turns out the potted plant is actually fucking dope, having to manage health as a resource and getting a neutral attack that is shooting presumably used needles, an orbital strike that costs 15% of your current health, a sonic boom that you can use to propel yourself into the sky, and I've seen enough Japanese animated shows to know where this is going. Overall, this survivor truly was worth the fucking brain aneurysm. Now, I'm not fucking around, for it is time to unlock one of the best, nay, the best survivor in all of Risk-of-Rain 2. You get yourself to the place with the ship and it's all crashed. I don't know the names of the areas. You just shoot some bird eggs, an boss spawns, you kill the boss, and boom, you've just unlocked yourself the loader. An actual beast exerting menacing vibrations. Not only has he a grappling hook that you can Spider-Man across the entire map, not only has he a fist that deals more damage the faster moving, not only has he a neutral attack pitch scratch that deals too much DPS for a neutral attack, not only has the immunity to fall damage, not only has he a shield equivalent to how much damage he does, but he also has a shooty bang bang orb. Now, you're going to get yourself to the spooky bazaar and go to the void portal in a secret cave that I found totally intentionally. I wasn't trying to kill myself after rolling horribly to get a legendary item. In there, you'll find that you have to activate several barriers, and if you don't stay inside the barrier, you'll get constant ticking damage. Some say that this is one of the hardest stages in Risk-of-Rain 2, but I say otherwise, with the strongest character as well as being in easy mode, makes it a breeze. And after painstakingly activating the 9 cells, you get Acrid, which I never played, cause I ain't a scaly. You. Plus, he looks kinda... toxic. So, as I was going through this part after writing it, I noticed that I kinda did Acrid dirty. Mainly I said, and I quote, "I ain't a scaly, you." As I'm looking back through the footage, I realized that Acrid is more resemblant of a dog. So I thought I'd redo this, giving the poor boy more recognition. And also because if I didn't, the Risk-of-Rain 2 community would hunt me down and neutralize me. So, Acrid is the best doggo boy Risk-of-Rain 2 has, and all it wants is to spread pestilence and disease. He's surprisingly mobile early game with 2 jumps. He also has some good boss damage with his poison that, even though it doesn't kill, does quickly get the enemy to 1 health. He also has a variety of melee and ranged attacks. With some magazines you can make him basically, well, a machine gun. Acrid officially ranked Best Boy 2020. But enough even more fucking around, for it's time to get that motherfucking peanut out of the air. And I'm finally going to talk about this. No more stalling, no more fancy pants survivor talk. It's time. So with update 1.0 that came out on the 11th of August, there was finally an ending. So another story time. I was coming on after the update doing a quick entrance run, nothing out of the ordinary, and I'm on stage 5, the Sky Meadows. A short message appears. The primordial teleporter aligns with the moon. I was like, okay, that's strange, quickly forgetting that message. I got my items, opened some chests, activated the Shrine of the Mountain, cause why not? Oh, another one, don't mind if I do. And went to look for the teleporter, and I saw something. It looked like a teleporter, but it was all stony and shit. I activated it expecting 3 bosses, and there they were. 3 magma worms. Looking back on the footage, I'm pretty sure there were 4 worms. Oh well. But I quickly killed due to my shad aura. After picking the items and waiting for the teleporter to charge, I entered it to be faced to a new area, a black room with no enemies and eerie music. I went up the stairs that I found a while later and came up to the surface and finding finally an enemy. It wasn't too bad, but he was too weak to be a common trash mob. Fast forward a bit and I see that there's a building with lunar flowers, strange, and later another one with item thingies. By this time the music had gotten epic, leading me to think this was about to be a good time. As I proceeded, I found these little launch pads. Ooh, legend. The music stopped. As I came closer to the center of this circle, a cutscene, and that was a portal appeared, coming out a figure, and the music started, the epic music. I was shocked, surprised, I didn't know his mechanics, and this is really the first boss in RoR2, and I have to admit, it was fucking dope. Mithrix is a melee boss. He warp dashes towards you and hits you with the hammer. Sometimes he slams it into the ground, dealing loads of damage. He also periodically jumps high into the air, then slamming right into the middle with a shockwave. Damage him, rinse repeat until he's quote unquote dead. That's phase 1. Phase 2. Kill some mobs that you were already killing in this zone. Pretty simple, just dodge the balls of death the chimeras throw it at you. Also try using the pillars as a method to line of sight the others while concentrating on one. Do this and you'll be fine. Phase 3 time, fairly simple to phase 1, but there's a gun thing. You can either burst it or ignore it completely. The two differences here is that when he slams, he leaves behind a beam. I don't know what that does, but I'm pretty sure it's not good for you. The more lethal part of this phase is when Mithrix periodically does his spinning bars of death. I recommend having at least some hoop feathers and wax tails, and goat legs never hurt. Also making sure to position yourself as far away from Mithrix as you can. It has to do with math, it's science, you can't argue with science. This is where yours truly failed in my first blind run. Phase 4 time, this is either the hardest or the easiest phase of the boss fight depending on your items, because the boss does the unthinkable. He steals your motherfucking items, like what the fuck, no, my items! Meaning that if you add OP items, the boss is going to be OP, and vice versa. He also sends out periodically some orbs. They are really easy to dodge. This boss broke me. I tried so hard, I got so far, but in the end, nothing really. But I was fucking sick and tired of this boss. I went commando, easy mode cause I can't be fucked, went in, run went great, I got to the primordial teleporter, boom, went into the boss room, used the bridges for a high ground, perfectly did the mechanics, killed the boss, dodged the beams of death, got my items stolen, got them back, and boom. It's that easy. Now it's time to Because the moon's exploding. And there it was, the dropship. As I entered it, the screen faded, white, a cutscene. And so we left, with nothing but his humanity. Wait, this isn't even the true ending. I have to beat it on Monsoon. Are you fucking crazy? And I've got a new hero. Oh, I get Yammer guy, I thought. But no, it's a captain. But he's swole though. The captain has by default an item that neutralizes enemy projectiles. He also has a main fire that is either a shotgun or a long-range spread, kind of like Roadhog in Overwatch if you think about it. As well as having a stun and another artillery strike. Like, how many of those do we have already? And he also has some pylon things that do various things like pure damage and stunning, healing, and some more other stuff I haven't unlocked because I can't really be bothered. These would be fun, but because you can only drop them once per zone, it doesn't really make sense dropping them outside of the teleporter event, which kinda sucks. Apart from the survivors, Discovery 2 has a lot of other things to unlock, such as all the items, the character loadouts, the survivors' alternate skins by completing the game on Monsoon on each character. Then you have even more achievements, such as prismatic trials with a set layout and rotating daily, and seeing who can complete the trial faster, all the unlockable artifacts that alternate your gameplay, like making all enemies elites or making you choose what items you want to drop from chests, etc. Discovery 2 might just be the first game I actually 100%, and the music is just terrific. Some of these soundtracks are unironically in my favorite official soundtracks of all time, of all games, and the multiplayer is just something else, or so I've heard, cause I don't have any friends to play with. This is so sad, can we get an F in the chat? But I'm not going to pretend that there are no flaws with Discovery 2. There are some small problems that sometimes piss me off. Firstly, the game has half a dozen stages, each with 2 or 3 variations, but they start to get repetitive after a while, which I find a bit off-putting. Same goes with the music, although all the tracks are absolutely golden, let's get straight. They start to get a bit repetitive after a while. Apart from that, there aren't actually that many flaws, which is very impressive, even in the forums of all places. The negative comments all come down to I just personally don't really like the game. In the forums, for fuck's sake. And the community is just moi. There's a video that perfectly encapsulates it, you should watch it. I'll remember to put a link in the description to it, hopefully. There are a lot of player-made mods that make new characters and such. I highly recommend that you check those out. Besides that, you also have a Discord server that I'll also put a link to in the description. All in all, RoR2 is a video game masterpiece, which you already know because it's in the title, but I digress. If you're torn about buying it, don't be. This game, once you can get over the brain aneurysms and the gamer rage pumping through your blood, can be so enjoyable. You can spend hundreds of hours playing it, especially if you're doing it with those friends you can just tolerate. The conclusion is buy it for your grandpa, buy it for your mom, buy it for your wife's boyfriend. Marshalling over and out. So, after the SO video, I told myself I wasn't going to do anything big for a while, and boy was I wrong. LMAO. Well, freak me, I guess, because I also plan on doing something so big the likes of which this channel has ever seen before, sooner rather than later. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, what can you do but subscribe? If you subscribe, I promise I'll do more. I also have a Discord server. If you'd like to join it, you can go to the link in the description. And well, that's all for me. So bye and be good people.